trained it to do that. Hello friends. Today I am going to show you how to and how not to get out of a canoe. So strap in. So the first style of dismount I like to call the ballerina. So pressing up on the center bar, lift yourself up, point your toe, stretch, reach, and draw yourself back in. If you'd like, you can do a little twirl at your successful dismount. I am not a ballerina. Okay, so this one is similar to the ballerina. This one is called the Jean-Claude Van Damme. Technically, I would say it's more of a recovery technique. So pointing your toe, reaching your leg, the boat is drifting, oh my God, ah! Then you gotta clench, pull, retrieve. Ugh. And you saved it. It doesn't always end well, but good luck. So this next style of dismount is called the Lonely Girl dismount. Some of you who have been around for a while might remember two of my videos, which were satire comedies. So I'm going to give you a little example of how Lonely Girl would probably get out of her canoe. So let me just get into character. So first of all, you don't want to be wearing a life jacket because it really doesn't do a lot for your features. So let's get rid of that. When you're surviving solo and alone and lonely in your canoe, it's really important to set up your camera at a really flattering angle before you dismount. Now that we have a nice flattering angle, the first thing that you're going to do is engage your glutes. Now, this is both practical and aesthetic. You want to go up onto your toes, lift your bum, center your foot, reach your leg, maybe give it a little flex. And then as you dismount, you want to look as graceful as possible and like you know what you're doing, but not too much. Because, oh my God, you still want to give the impression that you're kind of vulnerable and you don't fully know what you're doing so that maybe a man will come and rescue you. Okay, so this technique is called the runaway, aka the Julia Roberts. I wouldn't say so much of a technique as a very common way of getting out of the canoe. So this happens when you step out of the canoe and then you accidentally push off with the foot that was left in the canoe and send your canoe out to sea. As you can see, it's not ideal. But actually, this style of dismount is also compatible with Lonely Girl because then you are actually vulnerable and a damsel in distress and in need of rescuing. Just pretend that there's no rope there for this part, okay? Just a little bit of suspending your disbelief. Okay, but in all seriousness, I will show you how I actually get out of a canoe because sometimes it's really awkward. And I don't think that there's actually really a graceful or sexy way to do it. But this is what I do. So sometimes I will use the paddle to brace myself, step up, and keep myself centered. You want to keep your center of gravity fairly low. And then you're going to reach out, keeping your weight on your standing leg in the canoe. And then slowly transfer your weight onto the shore. And ideally don't let go of your boat. And that's really all there is to it. So I just saw a snake, a garter snake, catch a fish, bring it to shore, and swallow it whole. I don't even know how I feel about that. It was amazing and also kind of disturbing. Yeah. Garter snakes are not dangerous to humans, but it was the biggest one I think I've ever seen. Interesting. So I have a few knives, and two of my favorites are the White River Firecraft 3.5 and the White River Ursus 45. And I used to use the Firecraft all the time until I kind of impulse bought the Ursus. And now I don't use the Firecraft very often. So I thought I would bring it out and put it to use a little bit. And since I'm moving, I'm going through all my stuff, and I found the boxes that these knives came in, which are so beautiful. But it's one of those things like, I don't need this box, but I've been hanging on to it because it's so nice, and these knives were so nicely packaged. So I thought I would return them to the earth by using them to start my fire today, instead of just throwing them in garbage. And I am reminded why I don't use the Firecraft very often anymore. The Ursus is a lot nicer to use. Feels a lot better in my hand. Also, just FYI, I am not affiliated with White River. I just have some of their knives and I really like them. I cannot believe that it's almost the end of August, and in my area, there is still no ban on small campfires. I can't remember the last time we've been able to have campfires well into the summer. And I know that some places are really suffering with forest fires, and I think some places people can't even go into the forests, which is pretty wild. So I feel really lucky, and I'm gonna just keep my fire small and be really responsible with it. I always, always, always put my fires out very thoroughly with water. Yeah, and I'm just appreciating this fire. Oh, it's cold. Oh. Okay. My hands all over a really slimy rock. So nice. It's such a beautiful evening. I love this. I love this time of evening where the light just makes everything like soft and golden. And usually the lake is really calm and there's dragonflies everywhere. They're like this beautiful bright blue color and they seem so curious. And the birds are calling. We might get lucky and hear some loons. So I am gonna head home now. I'm losing the light pretty quickly. It's such a lovely evening. The loons are singing. And I'm gonna try to get some drone shots as I head out, so don't click away just yet. And if you like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and or leaving me a comment. And thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time. And to get into the canoe, you pretty much just reverse what you did to get out of the canoe. You separate in the center. Slowly shift your weight into the boat. And then step again into the center. And you're golden.